Quadratic applications. In this lesson, we're going to look at a few examples where we use the quadratic formula to solve real-world problems. So here we have a rock. King Kong is going to throw a rock down on the ground. It's thrown from the top of a tall building. The distance in feet between the rock and the ground, t seconds after it is thrown, is given by this formula. D equals negative 16t squared minus 2t plus 763. How long after the rock is thrown is it 430 feet from the ground? Okay. So the given information is 430 feet. That is the distance. T stands for time. We want to know how many seconds it will be before it's 430 feet from the ground. So T will get the question mark. So basically we're going to substitute 430 in for D in this equation. So now we have 430 equals negative 16t squared minus 2t plus 763. Now before we can even think about the quadratic formula, we need to put this in standard form. So we subtract 430 from both sides, resulting in 0 equals negative 16t squared minus 2t plus 333. And now we can identify our coefficients. A is negative 16, B is negative 2, C is 333. So let's use the quadratic formula and plug in A, B, and C into the appropriate places. Like I've suggested before, the most important thing when you're plugging the quadratic formula into the calculator is to do it a piece at a time. I recommend that you evaluate under the radical first. This is called the discriminant. Make sure whenever you're dealing with a negative number, especially when it's raised to a power, you put it in parentheses. So negative 2 in parentheses squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 333 is 21,316. So we take 21,316 and place it under the radical for this simpler version. As you can see, negative 2 is positive 2, and 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. And now we evaluate the numerator. 2 plus radical 21,316, press enter, and then divide that answer by negative 32, giving us negative 4.6. We want to round it. I don't think it specifies here, but make sure you round it to whatever it specifies. Let's go ahead and round it to the 10th place, so we have negative 4.6. 2 minus radical 21,316 is negative 144, divided by negative 32 is 4.5. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not make sense to have negative 4.6 seconds. This is an extraneous solution, and therefore the only solution that makes sense is 4.5 seconds, and that's our answer. Okay, here we have another real-world problem that uses quadratics to help us find the solution. Matt's rectangular patio measures 9 feet by 12 feet. He wants to increase the patio's dimensions so its area will be twice the area it is now. He plans to increase both the length and the width by the same amount x. Find x to the nearest hundredth of a foot. I always suggest drawing or sketching out the problem first. So I'm going to sketch the original rectangular patio with dimensions of 12 by 9 feet. And we know that the area of this must be 9 times 12, so it's 108 square feet. The new patio will be larger. The area will be twice that it is now. So 2 times 108 is 216 square feet. Now you can't simply double the length and double the width. because 12 times 18 is something much greater than 216. We're going to increase the length and the width by the same amount x. That's your hint. So we're going to write the new length and width of our larger patio by using the expression x plus 12 and x plus 9. So basically, before Matt takes a trip to Lowe's and buys new wood, he needs to know how much wood to purchase. His constraint is his area cannot be larger than 206. Well, actually, he wants it to be 216 square feet. So we're going to put all of these three pieces together in a very simple formula. Area equals length times width. 216 equals x plus 12 times x plus 9. This is where you need to multiply or FOIL first term's x12, outer term 9x, inner term 12x combines to 21x, and 12 times 9 is 108. Again, we need to put this in standard form, so we subtract 216 from both sides of the equation, giving us x squared plus 21x minus 108 equals 0. And now you can clearly see the coefficients are 1, 21, and negative 108. Finally, we put this into the quadratic formula, and very carefully we evaluate under the radical first, which I've already done, plugging this in the calculator just like so. 21 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 108 is 873. Negative 21 and 2 come down with. And now we're ready to evaluate negative 21 plus radical 873. Press enter, divide by 2, and we end up with 4.27. It wants hundredths place. 4.27. Negative 21 minus radical 873. Press enter, divide by 2. Negative 25.27 feet. Now that doesn't make sense to go to Lowe's and say, excuse me, I need negative 25 feet of wood. We have to reject this. 4.27 is the only answer that makes sense, and that is our solution. So there you have it. Best of luck to you. See you next time.